It's Monday, June 22nd, 2026, and this is episode 362 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, you rested? You're all recovered from your trip?
All recovered, ready to go.
Okay, good. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. I went to Las Vegas with my sisters and sister-in-law to see The Wizard of Oz. That's why we went, but I've got some additional information. And then, Dr. Mike, you were out here for a trip to San Diego. Your daughter graduated, and we hit the casino a few times. Oh, my gosh. A lot has happened since we've recorded last.
Yes, yeah.
So let's get to it. My sisters and I, we all drove together. My sister-in-law, Elle, who's been on the show before, she's talked about slots. She flew. But my sisters, Dana and Sue, we all drove to Las Vegas on the Friday. It would have been, I think, June 5th. It was an uneventful drive, except for one thing. Just before we got to the big hill that goes down to Primm, to State Line, there was a fiery accident. It had apparently just happened because the highway patrol were just getting there.
Yikes.
And, it was fully engulfed in flames. And it was in like the number 2 lane. It was a 3-lane highway at that point. So, it stopped traffic.
Right.
We sat there for a while. It was interesting because no emergency vehicles got there while we were waiting. And when you think about it, I don't know where they would come from. Las Vegas, maybe? Right?
That's probably the closest. That's like 50 miles away.
Right. Because behind us is Baker, and I mean, that's further away anyway, and I don't know what kind of... I'm sure they have some emergency vehicles, but the highway patrol, blocked traffic. At one point, it was this SUV. They tried to extinguish it. They had some fire extinguisher stuff, and it didn't work. The thing just kept burning. So finally, the highway patrol just backed away and let it burn. It didn't look like there were any injuries. It looked like everybody had gotten out of the SUV. Nobody was being looked at. There wasn't anybody on the ground or anything. So that was good.
Yeah, I wonder what caused it.
The car was flipped the wrong way. So it hit something, maybe another vehicle, although we couldn't really tell. We didn't see any other vehicles. So we weren't really sure. We sat there for about a half an hour, and finally they let traffic go off to the side. We drove by it. It was still burning. I guess they felt it was safe enough. Later, I was talking to Mitch, one of the players at the casino poker game, and he just kind of was casually mentioning how he got caught behind an accident. Turns out it was the same one, but he was further behind us. And he said it took about an hour, which I believe, because we were pretty close to the accident. But, it must have backed up for quite a ways. He said it took about an hour, and that by the time he drove by it, there were emergency vehicles there, so they had finally gotten there. But anyway, no injuries, no fatalities. We couldn't find anything, on the internet after. It wasn't big enough news, but it kept us from our destination for about a half hour.
Well, I hope you're filing a complaint with the highway department.
Yeah, I'll do that. It was on the California side, so thank you for reminding me. I'll put together a sternly worded letter and send it via snail mail. Tersely, yeah. Sternly and tersely.
Tersely worded letter, yeah. Send it in, because that's ridiculous. I mean, there's no reason that you shouldn't have some kind of bypass or something, some emergency lane that appears and gets you to Vegas on time.
Or just some big thing, sort of like a croupier's stick that just pushes the accident off the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. I'll send that later. Well, one of the things we wanted to do on this trip was stop at Primm, because Primm was closing down on July 4th. Since we visited, Terribles has come in and saved the day for Primm, at least for Primm Valley and some of the employees. So that's good news. Let me talk about our experience, though. We stopped there, went into Primm Valley. It was way more depressing than I thought it was going to be. I thought, well, okay, there's probably going to be quite a few people there who want to, look at it, before it goes away.
All right.
But there was virtually nobody there. I posted a reel that I took on Twitter, just kind of a walkthrough of the casino. No table games at all. A lot of the slot machines were down. There was still power going to them, but they were down. I was guessing that maybe that was because their jackpots had already been paid out. You know, when a casino closes, they have to award any jackpots that haven't been paid on the slots in some way. So a lot of times the last day that a casino is open, it'll be real crowded because people will be there to hopefully get some of the jackpot. And
Right.
I don't know if it's a lottery or you have to pay. I'm not exactly sure, but by law, they have to get rid of the jackpot. So I was just guessing that maybe a lot of the slots were shut down because they didn't want them to start a new jackpot, right? You know, and then have to pay at the end.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but we spoke to a woman who worked in the gift shop there. And she was talking about how, you know, the employees, there was really no warning that this was going to happen. And that when they were told that they were closing on July 4th, there were rules where they couldn't take any time off, no time off at all, even if they had accumulated PTO, until the closing. And that when they did close, they had 2 additional days to vacate the apartments that they lived in. Just 2 days. And most people probably don't see these apartments, but if you go kind of behind the casino there's a community there of apartments, you know, set up specifically for the employees to live in. Basically, they'd have to work, and then 2 days to get out of there, which is pretty crappy.
Where did they go to buy food and stuff?
That's a good question. I wish we'd asked them that. Maybe food was brought in. Maybe there was a way to do that. But the woman we talked to, she didn't even own a car. So,
Oh, my.
you know, when she lost her job, she didn't know what she was going to do, right? And, you know, there were other people who were probably in the same boat. Anyway, it was pretty dire when we were in there, and the employees were trying to keep up good spirits, but it must have been hard to do. It was depressing. The woman did say that on the weekends, they were fairly crowded because people were coming in, you know, as a last chance. We were there on a Friday, you know, about 1:00, something like that, and it was dead. So I'm not sure if, you know, people were coming later. But anyway.
So they didn't have a craps game going, huh?
Nothing. No table games. Yeah, all the table games were shut down. In fact, all the tables were kind of pushed over to one area.
Oh, so they weren't even using them, period.
No, the whole floor was just slot machines and fairly well spread out.
Yeah.
You know, because they'd gotten rid of the table games. Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, Terribles has come in. They have saved the day. I can't imagine why they did, because even though I'm very happy, especially for the employees, this just doesn't seem like a place that can make money anymore because of all the California casinos that are catering to the people who used to drive to Primm. You know, as a close.
Yeah, they'd have to have some major giveaways and stuff to attract people, or there has to be something reason to go there.
Maybe they will. They'll pour some money into it and things will change. But anyway, for right now, Primm will survive.
Probably whoever is the CEO of Terribles listens to our show.
Yeah.
Heard that we're putting a casino there.
Oh, that's right.
And thought, well, you know, we want to get in on this.
Yeah, they want to. They want to get in on the bottom floor. So yeah,
they're gonna piggyback their casino off ours. Like take all the when we reach the maximum amount of people that the casino can hold, they get the rest.
Yeah,
for at least a little while until someone leaves, and then you know someone can come in. That kind of thing. That's probably their thinking.
Yeah, it could be. And we drove around, you know, kind of looking at stuff too, right? The outlet center, of course, is all closed. It was very depressing, very depressing.
Yeah.
Anyway, finally, we drove into town. My sister Sue and her wife Elle, they were staying at Park MGM, so we dropped her off. And then Dana and I stayed at Venetian. And we got a room in their new tower. It's actually a very nice new tower, but you do have to take 2 elevators to get to it. I don't want
to get to your room.
Yeah, there was no way to just take 1 elevator. 2 elevators.
That seems dangerous for a casino because, I mean, a drunk guy's never going to be able to navigate that.
Yeah, he'll never get to the room. Yeah,
who knows where he'll end up?
So that was a little awkward, almost like, they had to kind of shoehorn this tower in there. But the tower was very nice and even had its own pool area, like a smaller pool than the main Venetian pool, which was super nice. Smaller pool, you could have families there, 2 big jacuzzis. This was, I thought, great. It wasn't just a typical jacuzzi where, you're sitting shoulder to shoulder with people you don't know. There was plenty of room to spread out. We didn't take advantage of it, but it was very nice. And it even had its own 24-hour fitness center, separate from the main Venetian fitness center, which isn't 24 hours. So, yeah, very nice. Typical room, that kind of suite thing with the stairs going down to a lower sort of living room area and then the sleeping area up top. But
so what you're telling me, what I'm getting out of this is that it was very nice rooms, lots of amenities, but somehow the architects were not able to get an elevator in there.
Yeah, impossible to
go
get
up
to.
They could go up all the way.
All the way, yeah. Nothing from the lobby. Yeah.
Well, Barney Fife strikes again. He probably... That's who did it.
And remember last time I was talking about staying at the Orleans, how I was just so far away from the elevators and the ice machine. The ice machine situation here was even worse. I'm following these signs to get to the ice. I keep going and I keep going and I turn a corner and I think, oh, good. Okay. It's going to actually be around this corner. No, I had to keep going and keep going, even past a different set of elevators that who knows where those went. I don't even know.
God.
So past our elevators, past another set of elevators, finally to the ice machine. I stepped it out 206 steps to the ice machine.
Oh my goodness.
One way. So
now see, there's another thing that's going to get added into our casino, Mark.
Yeah.
Each room has its own
ice machine in each room. Yep.
Yeah. They have those little ice machines. That's what we're going to have in ours.
Yeah.
Constant ice. If you run out of ice, you get a free well drink.
That's even what we'll call it, constant ice. We will trademark that term.
Yep.
So constant ice, and it'll be a little trademark next to it. It'll be one word, right, with a capital I, constant ice.
Yeah, constant ice. And then on the big marquee out front, that's what'll be flashed.
Right. We'll have one of those old marquees like you said you wanted to have, right? With the letters that have to be manually put up there.
Right.
It'll say constant ice.
Constant ice. People will be like, what? I don't know, but that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want that in the desert?
Yeah, right.
So the next day, Saturday, we decided we'd go to Wizard of Oz on Sunday. So the next day, Saturday, Elle got us reservations at Din Tai Fung, which is in Aria. And it's this very famous Taiwanese restaurant, specializing kind of in their dumplings. Very popular, big line to get in, but Elle was able to get us reservations. So we went there for lunch. Great menu. You order just a bunch of different items and share them, and we had a very good meal.
How are the dumplings?
They're very good, yes. And I'm not really a dumpling connoisseur, but we got a bunch of different kinds, chicken and veggie, and just, they were really good. And you can see, when you walk in, you see them actually making the dumplings.
Yeah, it's kind of neat watching how they make them. I love dumplings.
Yeah, you would love this place. Yeah, it really was good. But here's what happened. Doggone it. We ordered the dessert dumplings, which are chocolate inside the dough, in these dumplings. And Elle had been raving about it, and our waitress said, oh, yeah, it's my favorite dessert in the whole world. It was great. So we finished our meal, and the waitress came, oh, so you're all done? Okay, I'll put in your order for the dessert. So we waited, and waited, and waited. And I'm thinking, boy, this is taking a long time. Finally, the waitress came over and said, I'm so sorry, I forgot to put in the order.
Oh, my God.
This is after we've been waiting a while, right? And when she said that, I kind of sighed like, didn't it occur to her, hey, how come this order's not coming up for these people? And this is a world-class restaurant, right? Everybody makes mistakes, but wow, what a damper. So she said, I'll put in the order now. Right? So it's like, we still have to wait. She brought us over some ice cream, to kind of say she was sorry. We had to wait a little bit longer. Finally, the dumplings came. They were very good, quite delicious. But this sort of, I'm not crazy about sit-down meals.
You don't even want to sit down when we have guests.
I know, and we'll get to that, because yes, I almost hijacked a situation when we had a guest. But this is one of the reasons. Now, I realize this is not usually going to happen, and usually things go smoothly, but just terrible. Now, at the end, I don't know if she took it off our bill. I think it was all comp for Elle, so it didn't really matter that much. But it definitely left a bad taste in my mouth, no pun intended, because the chocolate was delicious.
That happens in restaurants. It's always kind of frustrating because it's like, come on. We were both waiters.
Yeah, right.
In our life, and we understand things happen, but not putting in the order?
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we were done with that meal, and I said, what would you like to do next? I said, you guys have never been downtown to see Circa. You've never seen Fontainebleau. And Sue wanted to watch a soccer match. The U.S. women's national team was playing a friendly game against Brazil. So I said, well, let's go down to Circa then. You might not get that game anywhere else, but Circa will have it. So we went down to Circa, always nice to go in there, and we sat down in the sports book for a little while. And then Sue and I went up to see if we could make a bet on the game because, the U.S. women's team is fantastic. They weren't taking any wagers on the game, but we said, well, are you going to be able to put the game up on the screens? And the guy behind the counter said, no, but it'll be on in the bar, the mega bar there. And so we were kind of disappointed about that. If you're going to watch something in the mega bar, you pretty much have to sit there at the bar. You don't have to play video poker, but there is video poker there. We were looking around thinking, where else might they be able to put the game on? We went up to Victory Burger. They have some nice big screens up there. And Sue and Dana were able to track someone down, said, hey, we want to watch this game. And they were finally able to get a hold of somebody who really could do something. And he said, oh, yep, I'm sorry. They're not able to put it on the screens in the sports book because the games there have already been pre-loaded or pre-bought or, something. They're obligated to show that. Sorry about that. Let me get the game on at Victory Burger. And, sorry that you had to kind of jump through some hoops to get there. Here are some free drink coupons.
Nice.
Ultimately good customer service from Circa. It was a little frustrating at first, but, we got the game on in Victory Burger. We're able to watch the whole game. Luckily, Sue was not able to make a bet on the U.S. because they actually lost the match to Brazil, but we were able to watch the whole game.
Good. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised because they don't really have to do that. They just say, okay, here, we'll put it on. To apologize and give you some free drinks is kind of nice.
Yeah. They went out of their way. And I think they've got a reputation that they have to uphold, being the place to go watch sports.
Right.
No matter what sports they are, right? As long as it's on TV somewhere, Circa should be able to show it. So that worked out good. We were actually there during the Belmont Stakes, so we were able to watch that on the really big screens in the sports area. So that was fun to see Golden Tempo win again. And we got some shakes there, too, at Victory Burger, even though we were pretty full from the dumplings. Those were delicious.
Yeah, you can have a shake anytime.
Agreed, although I think I'm past the age where I can have a shake while eating a burger.
Too much for you?
It's too much now. It has to be either burger or shake.
Not me. I can eat a burger and a shake.
Good.
I can eat a shake at any moment.
Yeah.
You could wake me up in the middle of the night and say, Mike, got a strawberry shake for you. Okay, thanks.
Any moment. All right, so this is a challenge. If you see Dr. Mike, bring him a shake. Any moment he can drink it.
I'll drink it. Now, don't bring me like 5.
Okay. It's got to be one at a time.
One at a time. 8 a.m. in the morning. I don't care what time it is. I love shakes.
So we're at Circa, and none of them had seen Stadium Swim yet. So I said, well, let's go up there and see if we can just say, hey, can we just go take a quick look? So we're heading up to Stadium Swim. I don't think you've been up there, Mike, but this huge escalator to get up there.
I've seen the pictures.
And it occurred to me, I bet they won't let us go just take a look. They probably won't allow that. But what if I say, hey, I want to go play blackjack in Stadium Swim?
Right.
They have to let us in, right? Because that's the state law, is that you have to have gambling accessible to everybody.
Right.
So if it's behind some kind of paywall, you just say, oh, I'm going to go gamble, and they have to let you in. That's what I did at Fontainebleau. When I was there with Tim Lawson, I wasn't staying at the hotel, but I said, hey, I want to go play in the gambling area. They said, oh, yeah, okay, follow me. So we finally get up there, and we're talking to the cashiers there, and I said, hey, we all just want to go gamble. Can you let us in? They said, oh, no, sorry, you still have to pay the $40. And I said, well, no, that's not the law. You have to let us in. So they said, oh, we'll get our manager. And I thought, okay, good. It's not surprising that maybe they wouldn't know this. Right, because they're just cashiers. And how often do people actually ask this, right?
Right, yeah.
So the manager comes up, and I explained what I want to do. And he said, no, you still have to pay. Circa has a special arrangement with gaming where, you still have to pay to get in. And I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to argue with him at that point. It's like, okay. So we finally go back downstairs, and I said, well, I'm going to call gaming. Right?
Okay.
So I'll call him right now. Hopefully I'll get an agent on the line, and I'll be able to go back up and, with my phone, and here's an agent from gaming. You've got to let us in. So I called gaming, was able to get a hold of an agent. This is great. Both times I've called gaming, I've gotten an agent fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So I explained to him what was going on. I said, yeah, we wanted to go up Stadium Swim. I said, I wanted to gamble there. And I know that, by law, they have to let us in, behind a paywall. And the agent said, what you're saying is absolutely the letter of the law. And I'm thinking, oh no, what but is coming next?
Right.
He said, but when Circa opened, they put in a request through gaming for an exception that people would still have to pay to get in. And the agent said, for whatever reason, the exception was granted. I'm thinking, some money exchanged hands. That's my guess, right?
Yeah.
But you could tell that the agent was kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. He said Circa is the only poolside gambling in the whole state of Nevada where you do have to pay to get in. I was surprised.
How can they do that and not allow other places to do it?
Yeah, they put in this request, I guess, when they were first building it, opening it, and Derek Stevens, for whatever reason, it's too bad. Shoot.
I can kind of see their standpoint, because if people knew that, then they'd all just be saying, oh, I'm going to gamble.
Oh, I certainly understand his point of view, Derek Stevens. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But
because then everyone would get in free. They just, oh, I'm going to go gamble.
But, if they're not, they could keep an eye on people. And if they're not gambling, I'm sorry, sir, if you're not going to gamble, you either have to pay or you're going to have to leave. And that's reasonable. No, I understand.
Yeah. How did they get that exception? Someone friendly to them?
No, money. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Money seems like
money's usually the answer.
Yeah. Anyway, had a pretty good time at Circa. Played a little craps there, nothing much, but won a little bit.
Mark, that might be the first time where in a casino we've gotten a true answer from a
yeah, they really knew what they were talking about. Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously been asked that question before.
Yeah. All right, so then we headed over to Fontainebleau because they wanted to see that. They really loved Fontainebleau.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was a really good experience. I was going to maybe play some high-stakes baccarat there just to kind of show them, that room where Tim and I usually play. We kind of ran out of time because we walked all over the place, and they really enjoyed that. And I still love Fontainebleau, too. So played some slots there, nothing else. But
wasn't that just miserable for you, walking around the whole casino?
Oh, Mike.
Not playing?
This whole trip so far has been excruciating for me. I said I played some craps at Circa, but that's been it. There's been nothing else.
I'm laughing because you're texting me while you're on your trip. Yeah, not playing much.
I had nothing to report. Fontainebleau, and then we said, oh, let me take you over to Resorts World. So I said, okay, yeah, they haven't seen Resorts World. So while we're walking to Resorts World, we pass by Slots of Fun. And it's like, well, we have to go into Slots of Fun. right?
Yes. I mean, who wouldn't?
That's right. You remember those old days where we get that? We'd call it a wretch dog.
Yeah, well, it was a rich dog because you put everything possible
Yeah.
on a hot
On it,
dog.
including chili. Yeah, cheese,
Yeah,
all the condiments, relish,
every
ketchup, mustard. Yeah.
condiment. That's a wretch dog.
We'd call it a wretch dog, but really it was just their 99-cent hot dog that they had there.
Yeah.
It's $1.99 now. Unfortunately, the snack bar was closed, so we couldn't get one of those. But we're looking around, old style slot machines, coin operated slot machines. So, you had to get like a roll of quarters or something. And we went back to the dollar slots and had fun playing those. And Mike, I don't know if I sent you a picture. Maybe I did. But I put it on Twitter. Above almost all of the dollar slot machines were Ike racks. Real, honest to God, Ike racks. We've talked about these on some recent shows.
Yeah.
The Ike racks, usually they're red. They're a little taller than your typical chip racks. And the idea is that they hold dollar tokens or silver dollars.
Yeah, and they're a little heftier too. Like
they're right.
Plastic thicker.
Yeah, right. They're more durable, to handle these heavier chips. And we mentioned on a previous episode, the reason they're called Ike racks is because Eisenhower was on the old dollar coins, and of course his nickname was Ike. So, pretty amazing. We only talked about Ike racks recently on the show, and yes, they're still being used at least at Slots of Fun, where you're getting paid with coins, and when it's time to cash out, there is a coin runner there, kind of above all the slot machines that will take your coins and give you cash for them. So it was fun going to Slots of Fun.
I hope that never leaves.
Yeah, it was great being in Slots of Fun. It's a total dive. I mean, just a complete dive. But yeah, the energy in there was great. You can hear all the coins hitting the trays, and there were a lot of people in there playing. It was fun.
Well, that's old Vegas. They were mostly dives, and then there'd be a few fancy places, right?
Yeah.
But they were mostly just dives, and it was fun.
So we went over to Resorts World. We just walked through there quickly, nothing really to report. And then we called it a day. Dana and I got dinner at Grand Lux Cafe. And by then it was like, I'm just going to hit the sack. So just went to bed.
Yeah, that was a devastating text for me when you texted that we're eating dinner at Grand Lux Cafe.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I took a deep breath and thought, why aren't I there?
All right, so the next day was Wizard of Oz. Elle actually left very early. She had stuff to do, so it was just Dana and Sue and I. I had talked to a couple of my poker buddies who had done it. I said, did you just get tickets day of? And he said, yeah. Just go up, get tickets day of. There's plenty of tickets. No reason to pay the Ticketmaster fees and everything ahead of time. Just go to the box office and buy them the day of. So we did that. We went to the early show, 11 a.m. show, walked over. We decided to pay extra to get the really good seats, or what are considered the good seats. I believe section 306 is the section. So it was nice because, we could actually move around. When we sat in our original seats, we were right next to some other people. And we just said, let's move a row down. There's nobody there. Give us a little room to sit and watch Wizard of Oz. So a lot of people have talked about Wizard of Oz, and I won't give away too much, but it was wonderful. We just had such a great time. The enhancements that they have done, I'll tell you, my favorite enhancement, even though there's a lot going on, is that they re-recorded the soundtrack. So the music now is just, it's not this 1939 recording, right? It's modern day, stereophonic and all around you. It just sounds so good on these big speakers. And then, yes, the enhancements that they made, basically what they did was they took all the characters, and most of the backgrounds have been redone. Obviously, some are still from the movie, but they've enhanced the background so much so that they fill up the whole screen. When they're in Oz and they're going down the yellow brick road, you can look to your right and left, and there's all these things that weren't in the movie. Obviously, it looks fantastic. And there are some physical things that happen around you. I won't spoil everything, although I'm sure a lot of people who are listening already know some of the things that happen. And of course, the tornado is kind of the highlight because, there's all this wind and you feel it, and, just really wonderful. It is an abridged version of the movie. So people who are sort of intimately familiar with The Wizard of Oz, which I am, I watched it like every time. It used to be on, right? It was an event, right? Every year
it was an
on.
event. Yeah, we watched it every year.
So you'll notice that there are some things that are not in there, and there's some kind of quick cuts where they skip things, and so you'll notice that. But, you know, if you like The Wizard of Oz, you're going to like this. Now, I do want to mention Reverend Dave, who we've talked about on the show many times, and he won our tournament once, and he went to see it, and he wrote a review. I'll put a link to his website, which is davemillergaming.com, all one word, davemillergaming.com. He was disappointed by The Wizard of Oz. And even though I highly recommend it and had a great time, I do see most of his points. Some of the AI characters and some of the way things were kind of put. I won't go ahead and read his article just for another view on it. He didn't hate it. He was just disappointed by it. And I urge you to go read that if you want kind of a dissenting opinion. But we had a really great time there. There's been a lot of talk about, well, what other movie could go in Sphere? The poker guys and I, we were talking about it recently. They was like, well, you know, what about like E.T. or, you know, something like that? And it's like, well, okay, yeah. But we couldn't come up with anything that would have the appeal of The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Really, I mean, it's like the perfect choice. We thought, well, what about Willy Wonka? Which actually, that's a pretty good choice. And that might get some people in, but still not, you know, it still doesn't have The Wizard of Oz. The original Star Wars. That's a big one. In fact, Reverend Dave even said, you know, if they ever got that up, that would be another choice. I still don't think it would have quite the appeal of The Wizard of Oz, although I'm sure it would do very well. The chances of that, since, you know, it's Disney, are probably pretty slim. But
yeah. What about Field of Dreams?
Yeah, see, that would be good. But again, it wouldn't have the broad appeal. It would be maybe a small stint.
Yeah, a small stint for people who are into sports movies and stuff. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of movies I'd like to see in there. I know my wife, her favorite movie in the world is Gone with the Wind. Yeah. Now, it's way too long.
Yeah, it's way too long. That would never happen, I think, for a lot of reasons.
It's not every kid around or everybody's heard of it. Nowadays, Wizard of Oz, even young kids now know what that is.
Right, yeah. And, you know, Gone with the Wind is problematic in today's environment.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, I would say Willy Wonka, it was probably the best choice, but they have announced what the next movie is going to be. And this is a pretty good choice, even though it's not The Wizard of Oz and it might be kind of a shorter stint. It's going to be Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Now, that's an excellent choice.
I agree.
Although, at school, when I mentioned Rocky Horror Picture Show, the kids had no clue what that was.
Yeah, so again, nothing's like The Wizard of Oz. This is going to appeal to maybe a niche group. And again, it'll be maybe a stint.
People our age.
Right, yeah. Oh, when I told Sherry about it, she was over the moon. It's like, oh, great. And I mean, I would go see it. I consider myself a big fan of Rocky Horror. I never actually performed, but I dressed up back in the day to go to some midnight shows. Yeah, I think this is a good choice. It's not a perfect choice, but people who love Rocky Horror, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do as far as filling in the screen and what they might do, you know, around you for live special effects, practical special effects. So
it'll probably be a shorter, because initially when that goes, everyone who loves Rocky Horror is going to go to that.
Yeah, it'll be a shorter stint. And will they maybe edit out some songs? I don't know. You know, they want to, you know, make it a little bit shorter. So we'll see what they do with that. Hardcore fans may not like it because of what they do to get it on Sphere. But I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be next year, 2027.
The kids at school, when I mentioned it once, for some reason it came up. They had no clue what it was. Well, what's it about? And I said, a gay vampire. And
it's not quite right, but okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a good answer.
You know, what else can I say? And then I explained it's kind of a spoof. It's unique.
Rocky Horror Picture Show next year.
What about that? What was that movie about the rock band? Oh God, I'm blanking.
Spinal Tap?
It was Spinal Tap, yeah.
I mean, see, the thing is, though,
that be-
okay, that's a great movie, but how would that really work? What could Sphere offer to something
add
like
to
that?
it.
You know, nothing. It
Yeah.
has to be kind of a spectacle movie.
Yeah, right.
I know you haven't been to Sphere yet, but I mean, it's quite an experience with that screen. It's something else.
Yeah, I got to go.
Yeah, you really
was
do
telling
need to
Lynn
go.
that. I don't care what's there. I want to go just
You
to
should
see it.
go see The Wizard of Oz. It's going through at least the end of the year. You should make a point just to go. Yeah.
All right. I may do that later in the year. Yeah.
All right, so we were done with that and we thought, well, what else can we do? I said, I've always wanted to go to the Pinball Hall of Fame. So I said, let's go. So we went down to Pinball Hall of Fame. Yeah, that is really something. You know, you can play all the games. It is amazing, some of these old pinball machines that they have. Ancient that you've never heard of, and then maybe some more modern ones that you have. My favorite game, Cyclone, unfortunately they didn't have there. It's only my favorite game because it was the one in the student union that I used to go to with my friend Mark Phillips, you know, in the old days.
At UCSD.
But, UCSD, but they didn't have that. But I mean, just so many different machines and video games. You know, some are in disrepair. They're, you know, constantly working on them. But wow, what a collection. And, you know, you can get your quarters and play just like you would. Some are more than one quarter. Some are up to 4 quarters. You have to pay $1 to play them. But I'm so glad that I finally went to see that. Really an impressive collection there.
That's another thing. Now, I know this is going to make, you know, old Dr. Mike, but one of the things I loved when we were in our 20s, we would go up to that video game place that was across the street from San Diego State. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And
I wish I could think of the name of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, it'd be like a Saturday night. What do you want to do? You know, there's no movie out. You know, not much is going on. Okay, let's just go. And we go over there and spend hours just hanging out there, playing and watching each other play. And, you know, and it was so much fun. It wasn't just the games. It was almost like a social event.
Absolutely. And this was in the day of the 8-bit machines, right? You know, so it was still in its infancy, but yeah, we had a blast playing there. Yeah.
And, you know, I just feel in some ways bad for kids today because they miss out on all that social stuff. And it was a hangout.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, you'd see some pretty girl there and you'd like, you know, try and impress her by playing good on a machine or something, or just standing.
You know,
there
I hate to contradict you. I hate to contradict you, but I don't remember seeing a lot of pretty girls at the arcade. It was mostly greasy guys.
How about if I take out pretty and just say girls?
I don't know that there were girls there at all, Dr. Mike, but
there were some.
All right.
There were always some.
All right, so we finished up there and said, well, let's go check out Vanderpump. The Cromwell had been rebranded as Vanderpump. So we went there. Not much to say, really. It looks virtually the same, except that her dog, Jiggy, is like everywhere. Pictures of him and statues and everything like that. Cromwell really fell from grace. You know, they've got terrible pay tables and everything now. And so not much to tell. It's just her branding is everywhere. And that's about it. After that, it was finally like, hey, I need to gamble. So I found a crapless table there at Venetian. I thought, well, you know, play some crapless here and maybe some of that luck from yours and my last trip there to Venetian will seep over. No, it was absolutely devastating. Just terrible. Lose. Nothing else to report. It was awful. So that was my gambling for this trip.
Oh. Well, you went with your sisters.
Oh, yeah. The trip was all about going with my sisters and going to see Wizard of Oz. And on that, it was a huge success.
A family thing. Yeah. So
Dana and I had another meal at Grand Lux, but this final night we went to the Zeppola, and I might be saying that wrong, Zeppola Café. It's up there in St. Mark's Square in the Grand Canal shops up there. I had a very good meal, fettuccine al pesto, so it was kind of a nice way to end everything on the trip. And then next day, drove home Monday morning, got a relatively early start, didn't hit any traffic of any kind, actually stopped at Primm again just to take some pictures. This was, again, before we knew that Terribles had stepped in to save it. And that was it. Had a very good trip.
Yeah, you got home Monday afternoon, and I ended up there Tuesday afternoon.
All right, so I'll turn it over to you, Mike. Tell us about your trip.
We drove out from here to San Diego because my daughter was graduating from UCSD and she's going to spend a couple months with us before she leaves for London to get her master's in biochemical engineering.
Exciting.
We needed to bring all of her stuff back here and, that whole thing. So we figured, well, we'll drive out and then she can drive her car back. We'll have 2 cars. We'll load them up, which is what we did. On the way out, though, our first night we spent in Deadwood,
Good.
South Dakota. It reminded me a lot of Black Hawk
Yeah.
because it's built in like a gulch. There's mountains on both sides. No wonder the city's burned down. I don't know how many times, like 8 or 9 times it's burned down or something and flooded a bunch of times. They kept rebuilding it. Yeah, you can see why it's in this gulch. And if something catches on fire or floodwaters come through, everything's just devastated.
Yeah.
But all the casinos are still there. They're all very small.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, unlike Black Hawk, there weren't any really big casinos.
No.
But more like the small ones in Black Hawk.
Yeah, like the small ones in Black Hawk. Yeah, they're all very small. I guess there are a couple on either end of town that are bigger. I didn't go to those just because where we were staying, and we were only there for the night.
Right.
Yeah, they're small, and most of them would have mostly slots, but a few tables. I think the one that I played in had maybe about 8 table games. About half of those were blackjack, but it was 3-2 blackjack.
Okay.
One table was $5.
Yeah.
And there was nothing above 10. So, perfect if you're spending a night, you just want to go play with $100 or something.
Any craps?
No craps. I could not find craps anywhere. I went to a pit boss and asked him, because I had looked online and there were supposedly like 4 casinos that had craps.
Uh-huh.
And I was at one of them. And I said, well, there's no craps here now. And he said, well, yeah, they got rid of that a few years ago. So obviously the internet has not updated anything.
Yeah.
But he said there's one casino, Lucky Lucy, or I can't remember, the names.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he said that casino might still have craps. He wasn't sure. He said, but that would be the only one. It was on the far end of town, and I didn't want to drive down there. So there was I played some. Well, I put $20 in a slot machine. It was Huff and Puff, and I cashed out for $40. So, won $20. And then I went over and I thought, well, might as well just sit at one of these table games and play for a few minutes. I mean, it's silly to go in and then just come right out. Sat down at a 3-card poker table, $5 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I ended up like second or third hand getting 3 7s.
Oh, good.
And then a little bit later, I got a straight flush. I got some flushes. I got a full house, combined with the dealer's hand. I was making all the side bets. Anyway, I ended up winning like $288 total.
Good.
That casino. Yeah, I was not even there an hour, maybe like 45 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, that was fun. And it was kind of neat to see. Deadwood's a neat little town. Then the next day we stayed in Casper, Wyoming.
Okay.
Nothing to report there. Then we went to Ogden, Utah. Not much to report there. We like to go to cities we haven't been to.
Good.
And then the next night, that Tuesday, we ended up in Las Vegas.
Stayed Las Vegas.
Yeah, stayed at Caesar's Palace. Nothing really to report as far as gambling. Andrew, our good friend Andrew from Arizona, just happened to be there. He was going to the hockey game.
Oh, nice.
Which Vegas lost that night.
Yeah.
But after the game ended, he came over to Caesar's and we hung out and played craps all night.
Good.
It's funny. It was a Tuesday night. I started playing somewhere around 5:30 or so. They only had 2 tables. One was regular craps, one was crapless.
Huh.
And then during the night, towards maybe 8, 9 o'clock, they opened a 3rd table. It never got more than that.
Wow.
Never really needed more than that. The tables were not that full. And the craps went okay. It was up and down. Before Andrew got there, I was winning. And then he got there and it took a little dive and got a little cold. And we ended up losing, but not much. So all in all, I drove into San Diego the next day ahead for the trip.
Excellent.
And that's where You and I started our gambling. How many days did we go?
3 days. Yeah. We started off at Jamul, and that went pretty well.
Yeah, it started off a little slow, if I remember.
Yeah, it seemed like all of our sessions started off slow or bad. Yeah.
Or bad, yeah. And then we end up coming back and we won.
At one point, I don't know, we decided let's go over to Sycuan. I don't remember why. Was it getting crowded? I don't know why we left Jamul. Or maybe it was starting to go cold.
It was starting to go cold. We had been up quite a bit, and we were still up when we left, but it was getting cold. And then let's just go check out Sycuan.
Yep. And we won there.
And we won there. Yeah. It started off cold there too. Actually lost everything I had won at Jamul and then got it all back and more at Sycuan. Yeah. We had a good time.
Worked out great. Yeah. Most of our sessions were like that. Bad at the beginning and then a big comeback.
Except the very last session.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So the next trip that we made, I was scheduled to play in my poker mix game on that Saturday night at 6:00. And so we were going to go out there together and you were going to watch me play or, you were available much earlier.
As it turned out, I wasn't supposed to be available till later in the evening, but plans changed and I was available early.
Let's go out there. So we got out to Sycuan at about 4:00, 2 hours before I was scheduled to play. He said, yeah, let's head over. We'll play some craps until I play poker. Well, the craps table hadn't opened yet. It was closed. And we asked, and they said, yeah, it's not going to open till 6. So we're there 2 hours early. We could have driven over to Jamul, but by the time we drove there and drove back, I mean, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
So we thought, well, let's just play some other things until 6:00. So we started out at Face Up Pai Gow Poker. That was pretty miserable.
I started off okay. I like the first 3 or 4 hands, I was either pushing or winning, and then it just got terrible.
And it wasn't even fun, not because we were losing necessarily, it just wasn't that fun.
No, the dealers that we had at that table were kind of robotic.
Yeah, robotic's a good way to put it. Yeah. So I said, well, Mike, here, let me show you this carnival game that I've been playing recently, 6-card poker. It's a very simple game. Basically, you get 6 cards, the dealer gets 6 cards, and, whoever has the best 5-card poker hand wins. There's more to it than that. But it turns out this was a game that you really liked, Mike. Maybe one of the few carnival games that you really said, hey, I love this.
Yeah, I love it because you have to make a decision whether you're going to play or not. And then it seemed to me like the bonus bets were pretty, I'm not going to say easy to win, but had good payouts when you did win.
Yeah, the side bets in this game are more closely associated with the basic gameplay.
Right.
Specifically, there's a bad beat bet that you can make. And it's a 2-way bad beat, meaning that if you get a bad beat, or if the dealer suffers a bad beat, either one, you get paid on this bet.
Yeah.
And the losing hand, the better the losing hand is, the more you get paid. The bet pays off on a pair of aces or better being beaten. So if you had a really good hand, say a flush, right? You're sitting there thinking, oh, I actually hope I lose the regular game. Yeah. I hope the dealer has better than my flush, because this side bet will pay big time.
More than paying just your hand.
Right. And if my flush doesn't lose, well, I'm going to win the basic bet. Yeah, I still don't play the side bet. You did, and it certainly helped you.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
Yeah, anyway, you really enjoyed the game, which I'm glad, because we were able to now kill some time before I had to play poker. If you want to know more about 6-card poker, we actually talk about it way back on episode 28. And goes into a little more detail.
I would definitely play that game. I could sit there and play for a while. And it was fast-paced. Some of those carnival games are so slow-paced. And you're waiting for people to make decisions. This was, you pick up your 6 cards, you look at them, you see 3 of hers. She's got a pair of 9s and you don't have anything, you're done.
Or you've got a pair of 6s, which normally you would play, but you know you're already beaten, so you can get rid of it. Yeah.
And if she has nothing, and you see that you've got like a pair of 3s, you don't even have to look at your other 3 cards.
Right. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah. I like doing that. Only exposing the cards one at a time and only
Yeah.
going as far as I need to know that I'm going to play or not.
Right. I get a big kick out of exposing my cards one at a time.
Yes.
And then if I see that I've got a playable hand, not looking at the rest and just being surprised.
When the dealer finally
flips
reveals
them.
your card. Yeah.
Yeah. If I got better or worse or whatever.
Well, folks, this is unheard of. Dr. Mike actually says there's a carnival game he could sit and play for a long time and not feel like he needs to get over to the craps table.
Yeah.
So at 6 o'clock, I went to the poker room and introduced Dr. Mike to all the regulars there. And I said, well, how many players do you have tonight? And Paul, who runs the game, he said, well, we've got 8. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go play craps with Dr. Mike because then you'll have 7. And, when you've got 8 players in this mixed game, a lot of the games you have to have one player sit out every hand. I said,
Right.
7 players is like the perfect amount. You won't have any sit outs. I sat there and I played until they had, the full table. And then you and I went to the craps table and it was the same kind of thing. Really bad at first and then a huge comeback for a nice win.
Yeah, that was good. And enjoyable too. We had a good time. The crew was good there.
Yeah, I agree. And then the last time that we played was that Monday night, and we were able to get together with Andrew, who you saw in Las Vegas. And also my sister Dana came out to the casino to play. I don't know what to say about this session, Mike, other than
it wasn't good.
It was awful.
Yeah.
We had one good roll. Early on, I rolled.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. It undid all of our winnings from the previous 3 sessions and more.
Yeah, and
Just
the thing
awful.
is, it was one of those, like, if I made come bets, they'd go up on 3 numbers and then 7 out.
Right.
And if you made place bets, went inside or something, then immediate out.
Yeah.
Right. It was just like, oh my God, there's no good way to play. The rolls were not good.
Yeah, and this was several hours, just awful. And, Andrew got wiped out as well. And finally, Dana came, we played a little bit more, and we said, well, let's just go get something to eat. And this is what you were talking about before.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
Let's just get something fast. Let's just go to the fast food place, sitting down and everything. And
I'm like going over to Tony Gwynn's. It's a nice little restaurant with good food. And Mark's like, no, let's just get something to go eat in the car on the way.
Yeah, so something, I don't know if I said eat in the car, but yeah, that was what I was leaning to. And then you said something like, well, that's not very nice. Our friend Andrew came out to see us. I was like, oh yeah, sorry. we should sit and maybe talk a little bit because when we're at the table, when we're at the craps table, we talk some, but a lot of it is just the game,
Right.
So, oh yeah, okay, let's sit down and socialize. You're right. Sorry about that. So.
Yeah, Andrew, we're going to get rolled tacos on the way.
Yeah, glad you were able to make it out. Good luck in the future.
But we had sat down. We had a nice meal.
Yeah.
I got the fish and chips. It was a little scary, but turned out okay.
Yeah, and I got some chili and a half sandwich, and that I thought it was great. So yeah, good.
Yeah,
deal
that
there,
chili
Keith.
looked good. Why do I always get something and then I look at what the other guy got and I think, oh man, why didn't I get
Always
that?
consider what the other person is getting before you order, in case you need to order what that person's ordering too. Yeah.
Right. That's why always be last. That's Dr. Mike's advice. Always be the last one to order.
That is such good advice. Yeah, always be the last one. That's great advice.
Yeah, pass that on. If they look at you first, you go, oh, I'm not quite ready, and let everyone else order.
Oh, you're right.
No.
Dr. Mike, anything interesting happen on your drive home?
Drive home, no, we did not stay in Vegas. First night we stayed in St. George, and then second night we stayed in Western Colorado. I don't remember the name of the town. And then the next night we stayed at Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is on the eastern side where the Air Force Academy is. And that was really nice. I liked Colorado Springs. Yeah. Very pretty town, very clean, not small.
Nice.
If you wanted a nice medium-sized, good-sized town that was very pretty and clean, Colorado Springs was impressive. And then we spent the next night in Wichita, Kansas, which was nice as well. Interesting thing, on the way from Colorado Springs to Wichita, in Colorado, we passed a place, Leadville, and my mother-in-law, was with us. Turns out she had an great uncle who had a lead mine in Leadville. And she had visited them before when she was a kid.
I mean, if you're going to have a mine in Leadville.
Yeah, it's got to be lead.
Yeah.
But anyway, he owned this mine, and I had known that because we had talked about it before. But what I didn't know, and she told us when we were eating, is that he had the mine, but lost the mine in a poker game.
Oh, boy.
We had a hand, and I guess thought he would win, put his mine up. He lost, and so that's how he lost his mine.
Wow. He lost his mine.
He's still buried there. We saw his grave, him and his wife. So that would be my wife's great uncle. So I was telling Mark that the gambling bug runs deep in my family.
Yeah, as deep as a mine.
As deep as a mine, yeah. Because my daughters got it from their mom's side and my side.
Yeah.
So the force is strong. The gambling force is strong in our family. And then we left Wichita, and yesterday we got home.
All right. Well, very good. Glad you had a safe trip.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? We had no weather at all.
Oh,
going there or coming
that
back.
is interesting. When you go that distance, you hit some rain somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah, or some kind of weather. Nothing. I mean, just sunny skies everywhere it went. And we'd look on the TV, and just north of us, there's huge storms or things like that. So, yeah, it was great. Just beautiful driving weather.
Well, the only other thing I'll say about this trip, Mike, and it's because we were talking about it, you know how I really hate most casino cages, the cashier.
Yeah.
Right? It just drives me nuts. Something that occurred to me, I hate when there is a person, a cashier, at one of the windows that is not helping someone. In other words, they're doing something else.
Yeah, they're doing some paperwork.
Yeah, now I understand they have other responsibilities. They have to do certain things. I just wish that could always be behind the scenes.
Yep.
I wish that whenever they were out front, they were always helping someone or finishing up, having helped someone, something like that. And any of the extra work they need to do be behind the scenes. Now, I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's just they can't do this, not practical or whatever. But don't you hate that when there's only one person actually helping and maybe there are two other cashiers who are doing something else and, their little next window please is up there. Just another something to drive me crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you're thinking, why don't they just open that window and help? Let's get this line down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice if unnecessary people stayed in the back.
Unnecessary. They're not. I realize they've got a job to do, but yeah, it's... All right. We have got a ton of voicemails, but we're not going to get to them this episode. Look how long we've gone already. I will say this. I'm going to Vegas again this coming week. I'm going to be there from Friday, June 26th through Monday, June 29th. I'm staying at the Orleans because my friend Bill and I are going to play in a tournament on that Saturday. Our plan right now on Sunday is to go to the Strip, specifically to the WSOP area, maybe playing some cash games there, but we plan on being there at Horseshoe and the surrounding area on Sunday. So I will tweet about that, and then I'll talk about that trip on our next episode. And then, oh my gosh, almost immediately after
that episode, the next weekend, we're off to New Orleans.
We're off to New Orleans and Biloxi. We will be there July 13th through the 18th, first 2 nights in New Orleans, and then the rest of the trip in Biloxi. We'll talk about that on our next episode. So, yes, we've got a lot to talk about on future episodes coming up, but we better wrap it up now because we're recording on Father's Day. We've got some Father's Day things to get to.
Yes, and happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, even
all
though this
the fathers out there.
Post the day after, and then I've got to spend some time editing this show. Oh, there's so much to do. Mike, let's just wrap it up right here and thank some people for some recurring donations.
Sounds good.
From Kurt S., from Nathan B., from the National Association of Casino Party Operators, from Brian and Sarah, And from Josh H., thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from Sean W. We've got an email from him that we need to read as well. We'll do that hopefully on the next episode. And congratulations, Sean. He won Tim Lawson's 13-run baseball pool.
Yes.
So, yeah, congratulations to him. We were terrible.
We had
the Cubs.
We had the
awful.
Cubs.
Yeah.
And did you see the Cubs? I mean, the whole time they're scoring like 2 runs, 1 run. I mean, they were struggling to get 4 runs in a game, right? And we got to get up to 13. Last night, 16 runs.
I didn't see that, but okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I was thinking, what the?
Also, a donation from Alex F. Karma donation for upcoming Blackhawk trip. Appreciate everything you do. Oh, yeah, that's right. Everybody went to Blackhawk. That was another thing that was going on while you were here, Dr. Mike. So hopefully we'll hear some trip reports from that. Hope everybody had good luck.
Yeah, we almost stopped there. We were so close.
Oh, really?
I mean, we went right through Vail.
Yeah.
It's just right around the corner.
Also, a donation from podcast favorite John B. Karma donation, Vegas for an unofficial hangout with some podcast folks, June 19th through the 24th. Here's hoping for more royal flushes. Yeah, that was sort of this unofficial Vegas vacation trip that Original David put up. I assume that's the trip he's talking about, so hopefully everybody had some good luck there. And also a donation from Christopher T. Thank you very much. You can buy merchandise for You Can Bet On That and for The Better Life at bettermerch.com. That's BETTOR merch.com. You'll find a link for that at the top of our webpage. Also on our webpage, you'll find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television in the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. If you're looking for a movie to watch, check out our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. Oh my God, keep going, Mark. If you want to listen to songs with gambling-related lyrics, check out our You Can Bet On That Spotify playlist. Just click the link towards the top of our webpage. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. All right, Mike, what have you got?
Well, Mark, we've taken so much time talking about our trips, and we've got so much more coming and so many emails.
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to have a good July.
Oh, yeah, we've got
August,
so much
maybe.
content finally. Phew.
Yeah. We won't have the dog days of August to worry about. But since it is Father's Day, I wanted to wish everyone out there a happy Father's
Hopefully
Day.
you had a good Father's Day.
Me personally, I'm recording this podcast. I'm sitting here in sweatpants, and my favorite old shirt, I just counted, it has 9 holes in it, but it's so comfortable. It's not tight anywhere. It's not restraining. It's got all those holes for air to pass through. And then I'm going to go sit in my chair, which I'm looking at right now, put on the US Open and watch golf, and then put the Padre game on my phone and watch that at the same time as I'm watching the US Open. And then I'm going to switch and watch soccer.
Oh, fantastic. I am going on a picnic with the kids and Sherry. We're going to have sandwiches and chips, and it's going to be in a park, and I'm going to bring the Frisbee and a ball and glove, and I'm going to have the Padres game on the radio, which I love. I love being at a picnic with a Padres game on the radio. Love it.
Yep.
So looking
bring
forward to
2
that.
gloves.
Okay, I'll bring 2 gloves. Sounds good.
Bring 2 gloves. This the other person probably doesn't want it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Thanks for telling me that, Dr. Mike.
And there's some talk that maybe they're taking me to my favorite Asian restaurant for dinner.
Excellent.
So,
that sounds good.
So, a good day.
All right. Well, maybe I'll see some of you in Las Vegas. Otherwise, we will talk again in 2 weeks.
See you then.
Bye.
Well, how about you, Arthur? We could grab something to eat in the casino.
Casino, you say? That's where you're going?
That's where Donnie's playing.
Oh, I do love a casino.